Hello, welcome to our presentation. The group project is done by myself, Grace Marroquin, and Rebecca Furman. And our project is about family literacy workshops, monthly meetings to train families on literacy topics. So to give some the roadmap for our project, we're going to be discussing some background information about the school context. We will be sharing our vision and goals for this project. We will be reviewing the team roles and responsibilities in order to execute this project. Next, we will discuss different measures of efficacy to ensure that this project is working and meeting the goals that we set out. After that, we will discuss some logistics that will need to be put in place in order for this project to run effectively. And lastly, we will close with our proposed changes and outcomes that we hope to get from this project. So first, just to give a little bit of background, as you can see in this picture, the project would be taking place at Dr. Lawrence H. Moore MST Academy, located in South LA. So to begin, to give some school context, this school is located in Region South. It is a UTK through fifth grade elementary school with about 530 students enrolled. Our average attendance rate is at about 93%. However, we do have some chronic absenteeism problems with many of our students. The school is 100% low socioeconomic status families that it serves. 97% of the students are Latino, with 3% of the students being African American. At this school site, we do have two reading interventionists. One is a district-funded LCR set teacher coming from the four-year grant. Another one is myself. I'm a school-funded interventionist. And then we also have one math interventionist at the school site. In terms of parent engagement levels, we have the same 10 to 15 parents who regularly attend our parent workshops. We have about 30 to 35% attendance for back to school night and open house. In terms of SSPTs, we get about 50% of the parents attending, and a higher percentage of parents do attend parent conferences at about 65 to 75%. However, it's still not what we want as a school. We want to see more parents engaging in the school activities. In terms of ELA data, which we'll see on the next few slides, kinder to second grade, the lower grades are scoring below 50% on benchmark on DIBELS, and third through fifth grade is about 24% at or above grade level on the iReady ELA. So let's dig deeper into the data. So looking at the lower grade K2 ELA data, and this is the DIBELS MOI data that we have. You can see that kinder is at about 41% composite, first grade 46%, second grade 48%. So showing that there is a strong need in reinforcing these reading foundational skills for our younger students, as they are not all at the proficiency rates that we want for the district goals. Next slide. And then looking at the upper grade ELA data, again, these students are showing even more need. Third grade, 23% proficiency or at above grade level. Fourth grade is at 18%, and fifth grade's at 30%. So we see these patterns continuing through to the upper grade students because mastery was not made in the lower grades. So we have a strong need for reading intervention at our school site. And we also see the need to have more parent engagement at home to help support us and support what the teachers are doing at school. In terms of parent responsiveness and barriers that might be affecting our student success, we definitely have language barriers, as we have 97% of our population is Latino. We have a lot of working parents. Our after-school program is at capacity with a wait list. We have a lot of parents who prefer to meet via Zoom or have very late evening meetings if possible. Many times it's hard to reach parents via phone or text. A lot of times they're not responsive. We do try to communicate with parents via Class Dojo, social media, flyers, Blackboard Connect. However, we're noticing that these things, when it's social media based, it's not being viewed consistently. We have inconsistent attendance to school events, as was mentioned earlier. We are also noticing that meaningful conversations are limited in the home, so students are not engaging in discourse with their families. And then we have noticed that attendance is high when we offer incentives such as food or free items, and the unexcused absence rate is quite high. So looking at the research, we from this article, does parent involvement really help students? This research states some key findings, one of them being that parental involvement really leads to improved academic success. It has a very positive impact on reading achievement. And parents also get to build those social networks when they come to the meetings and they're present on the school site, and therefore they're better equipped to support their children. Parent involvement also changes social emotional outcomes, so it decreases instances of delinquency, it improves attendance. They also found that parental involvement leads to better outcomes regardless of income or race. And lastly, they also found that parental involvement must go beyond the parent-teacher conference. And it must be consistent and continuous, not just a one-time thing. So here's just a look at what our vision or goal would be as in a picture. We'd love to see a lot of parent engagement. This is a picture of one of our community events that we hold each year, our STEAM night. And then on the left and right side, you see some parents engaging with their children. So our vision would be for families to be actively engaged in supporting reading in the home by utilizing the reading strategies learned in monthly parent workshops. And this would have a positive impact on students' overall attendance and reading achievement. A variety of staff and local community members would play important roles in enhancing the student achievement. So our overarching goals would be the following: increase parent participation at school events, increase student achievement in ELA, at least 60% proficient in K2 and 45% at or above grade level in iReady. Hoping to improve student attendance to 95% and increase staff and community involvement.
All right, so now we're going to get into the team roles and responsibilities. And we're going to really talk to our staff and discuss the limited participation that we've had in those parent trainings because we want more than 10 to 15 parents, right? So we want to talk about the potential impact that the series of workshops can have for more increased attendance with our families, and then create that buy-in with the staff and also the families with needs assessments so that they can share their input as to how to make this successful. We'd interview support staff and perhaps grade level chairs to really determine the strengths within the staff. In addition to the needs assessment, maybe certain staff members or teachers have strengths that they could lend themselves towards these workshops. And then we want to calendar different staff members to deliver nights based on the needs. Not all staff members would need to be there all the time. And locate different volunteers to support these events. We'd use resources like our resource navigator and PTA to help locate volunteers to support. And then our school librarian can also connect with a local library to run a booth to register for the Families for Library cards and different library programs. And then we thought to elicit donations from local businesses for a raffle. Maybe we can find a tutoring center nearby that wants to donate, or museums or bookstores, and that will really connect to the workshops in addition to being an inspiring raffle prize for our parents. And then to build that buy-in, we're going to offer paid planning time to our teachers and staff for working on this. We are going to have that needs assessment to help with the buy-in for all stakeholders. And we will also be purchasing materials with teacher input that can support these workshops and have a rotating calendar so not just one person gets burnt out from doing this all the time, to share the experience and share it with all staff members. And the current workshops we had, like we mentioned before, it's 10 to 15 of the same parents attending, run by the interventionist with no additional staff participation. And you can see some pictures from the workshops we have now. And now, because we're going to create this needs assessment, it connects to the research, which shows a clear connection between parental involvement and children's overall educational achievement, which is particularly true for literacy development. That's based on the research. So that needs assessment is going to guide us. And the parent needs assessment is going to look a little different than the staff. It will take into account cultural and social factors, parents' attitudes and beliefs towards literacy and towards working with their students, with their children. It'll take into account lifestyle patterns, daily routine, home learning environment, the use of technology that they have in the home, and media consumption, and the parent and caregiver supports that they already have in their social networks. And then the teacher needs assessment, which we have on the next slide, that will really identify the strengths that our different teachers have and staff members, identify topics that they think will be supportive of the families, and any materials or training limitations we might have, maybe the frequency of the commitments of different staff members, input and engagement ideas, and really talking about incentives that will build that teacher buy-in. And the community support. So, volunteers, we always have high schools that are looking for community service hours, right, for their honors certification. So, they would be ideal to try to build that community support, that local librarian that's going to sign up to have families get library cards. And PTA volunteers can help. Those 10 to 15 parents that are always coming to all the workshops, we can enlist their help to help be like lead parents and helping with these events. And raffling off local items will be an added incentive for our families as well. And then the ways we're going to measure the efficacy, we are going to use data from our BOI to EOI to show those families that attended the workshops, compare those to families who didn't, and see, the average student that started off a certain way, how they ended up if they attended the literacy workshops. Use the attendance data to measure growth. um, do parent confidence. So, on a pre-test, how confident the parent felt working with their student at home on literacy versus a post-assessment, and see how their parents' confidence soared when you compare the pre to post. And then parent and staff feedback after each event will also gauge its effectiveness. And then the data on the number of families who enrolled in the library program or signed up for a library card will also help us measure effectiveness as well.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the logistics. So how would we go about implementing this? Um, so first of all, we want to think of accessibility because as we've heard previously, there's very few parents who attend the workshops, save for the 10 to 15 that we frequently see. And that has to do with work schedules and other commitments they may have. So we want to make these workshops accessible to all as much as we can. So we plan to create a Schoology page that will be like a parent hub. So we'll be recording a lot of the workshops so that parents can, watch these workshops if they want to during their own time, if they're unable to make the actual meeting at the physical location. And so we would do that through Zoom and just post those recordings on Schoology. We would also make sure that we have translations so that parents are able to, just understand the content that we're presenting, and then spend some time actually helping them to use the translation options that are available through Google, which are really fantastic. And we have some teachers who are very well versed in how to do this. So nice time to spend the time going over this with parents. And then in addition to that, we would make it closed caption so people who are hard of hearing are able to read and learn that way. Another factor is promoting the clinic. So it could be that some of the parents are just unaware of the fact that we're hosting workshops and therefore they're unable to attend. So we're going to use some of the tried and true methods, and we'll try as many as we can to get that participation rate up. So definitely going through the school social media accounts. This includes like Instagram and Facebook, using the school website. So School Loop, we have an excellent teacher staff member who keeps it nice and up to date. And so we would be posting the workshops there. Definitely going through Classdojo as well, so that teachers can share the information with the families within their classrooms, as well as the school's Classdojo page. We would send text messages and make calls and leave those as voice messages so parents are aware that these workshops are going on. And then obviously we would send home the flyers as well, the paper form. The clinic schedule. So these workshops would be done on a consistent basis. So monthly meetings, so people can count on them when they're occurring. So something like for the first Friday of every month, and this time would be fixed. So it was between 9 and 10 a.m. And then we would record the meetings, because obviously not all parents are able to attend those meetings, but that's when the staff members are available to teach them. And so we could record these, and we want to record these and put these on Schoology to make them accessible to all. We would use some of the funds that we have at school to provide parents with resources that they can use at home to help their children with literacy skills. So we would want to spend a lot of time or money on purchasing culturally relevant books that really speak to the children's culture, and books that they can, connect with. We would want to buy journals to help students, encode and improve their writing skills, provide parents with school supplies like dry erase markers, whiteboards that are really useful for targeting all those literacy skills. Manipulatives like fluency timers or sand timers for helping with fluency. Pre-made Elkonin boxes, poppets to help with phonemic awareness. And then we would also make sure to, stock up on incentives. We know parents, enjoy having like a snack when they come to the workshop. So we would definitely spend money providing like coffee and donuts and other treats, raffles to engage them and incentivize them to come, fun prizes that they really like, either literacy prizes or otherwise like wellness prizes for the parents. We would want to provide like certificates of completion to give them like an award for something, to feel accomplished for having joined the school and taking this knowledge. Doing social media shout outs and pictures, as well as maybe an end of the year celebration to celebrate their participation throughout the year. So the monthly workshop topics would be aligned with the information that we've been learning about through the science of reading. So really tackling on the reading rope and how decoding and comprehension is really made up of a lot of strands, and parents sometimes aren't really sure how to tackle the literacy issues that their children are dealing with. And so it would be nice to provide them with information, knowledge about all the different strands that make up the reading rope, that make up skilled reading, and then provide them with really just hands-on practical ways of approaching these different sub-skills. So we were thinking that in September we could tackle phonological awareness and just show parents things like rhyming games that they can play with their kids at home, or that they can do like in a drive, on the way to school. In October, we could do decoding, so more phonics games, and provide supplies that we purchased. Maybe November, December, we go over sight recognition, and we want to spend a lot of time on games because we do want to make this a fun thing for parents to do with their children, and also make it engaging. So things like playing snakes and ladders and providing parents with either pre-made game boards or store-bought game boards, for instance, that tackle these skills. In January, we would want to do fluency, so offer that option for parents, because even though that's not like something that you explicitly see on the reading rope, it is something that we would like to see students improve on. So we could provide them with like sand timers and reading passages to help with this. In February, we would tackle background knowledge. In March, we would do vocabulary games. In April, we would do language structures. And then in May, we would do verbal reasoning. And again, offering lots of different activities and games to do this. So the proposed changes and outcomes of all these workshops, well, we know that parental involvement has a positive impact on children's reading acquisition. So the outcomes that we're looking for are both student outcomes, family outcomes. So ideally, we would want to see improved literacy skills in the students, so better decoding, fluency, comprehension. We would also want to see the students engaging more with books and being more motivated to read, asking about books, spending time outside in the classroom reading books that they really enjoy. Also, we would want to see more widespread use of community resources. So the students themselves, checking books out from the local library. We would love for this to also translate to improved scores on district mandated literacy assessments like iReady and DIBELS. We would also like to see an improvement in attendance. So we know that kids who are confident about their reading skills are more likely to want to come to school because they feel good, they enjoy learning. So hopefully that would translate into greater attendance, maybe fewer SSPTs that are related to reading problems, and increased rates of Yale reclassification because kids are able to do well on DIBELS and all of the different requirements that they need in order to reclassify. And then for family outcomes, we would like to see an increase in parent involvement with their children's education. So reading aloud to the kids, playing literacy games at home, checking homework, and using resources like the community library, the local library. We would also want to see greater parent participation at the school site, so increased rates of attendance at family literacy events, repeated attendance, so coming to the events more than one time, and then also ideally seeing new faces, like parents who haven't previously attended meetings. coming to the school and getting to know the school, getting to know the staff, and joining these events. And then we would also like to see improved communication amongst all stakeholders. So just more conversations happening between the teachers and the families, or the staff members and the families, around literacy, using the feedback that parents give us to continue to inform the literacy events and create new topics that they want to see gone over at school. And overall school site changes. Ideally, this project would lead to stronger partnerships between the school and the family, greater parental understanding of all of the multidimensional aspect of literacy and how to help their kids home. And then just an increase on the focus on literacy at the school-wide level with all stakeholders, also students, staff members, and family. Thank you.